Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Oh, the lefties are big mad, and I mean big mad. Trump was supposed to be broke. Not only was Trump supposed to be broke, but Trump was supposed to be in prison. On his way to the local penitentiary, dressed in all orange, he is done, broke, bank accounts empty, Trump Tower gone. All of his properties now belong to Letitia James. You know, I guess that's what the left was expecting, but of course, as per usual, the exact opposite is happening. Another massive backfire moment, as not only has Letitia James' ridiculous $464 million penalty been slashed by nearly 2/3 down to $175, but following that, literally the next day, Trump's stock merger goes live, and boom! It looks like he might have made $5 billion right off the top. I guess Trump isn't as broke as they were saying. I guess the legal bills aren't gonna drown him, as these Blue Anon lefties on Twitter were suggesting. Cue the collective left-wing reaction. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so it actually frickin' happened. Although I'm saying that as if I'm surprised, I'm not surprised at all. The moment they greenlit that merger, I knew exactly what was gonna happen. What this is another left-wing political miscalculation. They did it to themselves. Donald Trump just scored big. Donald Trump's net worth more than doubles in hours. The former president's personal fortune skyrockets for now, as Truth Social's parent company begins trading. Donald Trump is more than $5 billion richer today as shares of Trump Media and Technology Group, which operates the Truth Social platform, began trading on the NASDAQ. Forbes now estimates that Trump, who was worth an estimated $2.3 billion before shareholders voted last week to approve the long-delayed plan to take TMTG public, now has a net worth of $7.3 billion as of 11:30 a.m. Eastern. That makes the former president one of the 400 richest people in the world, according to Forbes' real-time tracker. So what happened to all the leftist claims that Trump was ruined? He's not as rich as he says he is. Well, even if he wasn't then, now he is. It's thanks to these gals. You know, the left still hasn't learned what the Streisand effect is. This is what happens when you turn somebody into a martyr. Of course, the leftist analysts all over the media can't seem to wrap their head around it. Trump's Truth Social is now a public company. Experts warn its multi-billion-dollar valuation defies logic.
I want to talk about Donald Trump's Truth Social, because the newly merged social media company will begin trading on the NASDAQ under the stock ticker DJT for Donald J. Trump tomorrow. Now, Trump owns at least 8% of the company. That's worth at least $3 billion, although he can't actually sell the shares for 6 months. Does it offer him some kind of a lifeline here?
Well, you know, he could possibly, because the board could give him dispensation to do so, although you could see shareholder lawsuits going anywhere. I don't understand how this is going public. It makes $3 million in revenue, 3.5. My podcast makes a lot more money than it does, and it loses 49 million. I make a lot. I'm just saying. I should go public at that many billion. And then it also it loses $50 million, and its users have declined precipitously, 39% this year. This is not a business; it's a meme stock. It's I forget which website called it, but I think maybe Axios. It's the memeiest meme stock in all of meme land. It's just it will be supported and possibly a way to get money to Donald Trump. And you know, if he sells it early, the stock's going to go down. But you know, there's probably a lot of people going to short this thing. But, you know, you never know. He has a lot of supporters. So GameStop was worth a ton of money, even though it didn't have the business to support it. So
Kara Swisher says, my podcast makes more. First off, doubtful. I didn't even know this woman existed till she showed up on Bill Maher's show. But anyways, leftoids are crying. They're saying, look at Truth Social's financials. Those financials can't possibly justify this valuation. Blah, 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 blah. Donald Trump should be investigated. It's illegitimate. This, that, and the other. Corruption. The Russians are probably boosting his stock. No, dummies. No. I'm going to repeat it once again. I've said it a couple times. You guys did this. You, Kara Swisher. Every single leftoid who has defended and enabled this lawfare campaign against the Trump organization and against the Trump campaign, as well as Trump personally, you did this. You know, people want to talk about PE ratios, blah, blah, frickin' blah. Nobody cares. It's not a regular stock. You know why people are buying this stock? Because first off, they want to make money and it's a nice little trade. And secondly, because they're sick of seeing this illegitimate persecution of the former president. So very simply, what people are doing is putting money into the company, hoping that that money can offset what the deep state is doing to the former president. You people caused this. And at this point, Wall Street is saying that Trump Media is now the most expensive US stock to bet against. Borrowing costs over 200 times average for US listed firms, as SPAC short sellers lost $158 million on paper in 2024. Meaning there's so much momentum, there's so much money being poured into this thing. And we're talking about high conviction money, money that people are putting there and keeping there because they want it to help President Trump as he fights against all this illegitimate persecution. And so the buying power is extraordinary. The selling power almost non-existent. The stock is going up and it's likely to keep going up. And leftists want to claim foul play. It's not foul play. It's actually just market dynamics. People can invest in whatever they want. Call it a speculative investment. Leftists are operating under this false understanding that a stock price is almost always correlated to stock earnings or company earnings. Not really. There's a lot of companies with incredibly high PE ratios who aren't making enough money to justify their stock price, but people speculate that this company is going to continue to grow or become more important. For instance, Nvidia, as we go into the era of AI, Nvidia stock is way overvalued with all the speculative money pouring in. It's the same thing here. There's no bad actors, there's no Russia collusion. There's just market dynamic and, most importantly, market support for the former president's venture. Nothing you could do about it. Just like all the hedge funds couldn't do anything about all the money being pumped into GameStop. Let's call it a meme stock, except it's a meme stock with a high purpose, with an important purpose. The purpose of stopping you wannabe communist fascists right in your tracks. And boy, oh boy, is it happening. I mean, the dynamic is changing so incredibly fast. We went from Trump is broke, Trump can't make his payments, he can't keep up with the legal fees, he can't afford this $464 million bond. He's broke and he's going to have to start selling assets, and went from that to Trump all of a sudden looking like he has new life breathed into him.
You were going to say something?
Mr. President, you mentioned the cash you had, you said on Friday it's something like $500 million. You intended to put some of that into the campaign. Now that the bond's been reduced, are you going to start putting money into your campaign? You haven't done that since 2016.
Well, first of all, it's none of your business, I mean, frankly. But I might do that. I have the option. But if I have to spend $500 million on a bond, I wouldn't have that option. I'd have to start selling things. I don't have to sell anything because it's a phenomenal company. Look, I built a phenomenal company. Someday they'll actually report that.
You know, that's what we ought to respond to these leftoids crying over the valuation of Trump Media stock. Frankly, it's none of your business. All of a sudden, Trump is unleashed. He's got enough money to pay the bond, get Letitia James out of the way at least temporarily. He's got personal cash to put into his own campaign to compete with the establishment fundraising numbers that the Democrats are putting up. He's got time, he's got money, he's got some room to breathe, and the left can't stand it. They can't stand it. They hate it. They thought once again they were so close to stopping the man, but once again, Trump proves that he's thinking 5 steps ahead of them. You know, they probably timed this perfectly. The Trump team, as tactical as ever, probably knew exactly what they were doing. I'm pretty sure Trump could have had the launch on the New York Stock Exchange. You know, the merger probably could have happened months ago, but instead, they delayed to the perfect time. Right when Letitia James was about to grab his bank accounts and maybe some of his properties, they launched this counteroffensive, raking in billions, counteracting all the damage, and the whole thing is just absolutely glorious. So of course, you know what that means. It's finally time for the leftoids to go through the typical process, starting off in denial and delusion, followed by grief, and eventually they'll end up moving the goalposts. Keep moving those goalposts. So my message to all you communist revolutionaries, all you wannabe communist fascists, keep moving those goalposts. Doesn't really matter. Donald Trump is 5 steps ahead of you guys, ready to slap it in that top corner, that top shelf, each and every single time. The Orange Man wins the day once again. Let's give the Blue Anon leftoids some space, some time, so they can recalibrate and come back with the next latest anti-Trump deranged conspiracy theory. Trump was supposed to be broke and headed to prison, but instead, he just pocketed $5 billion worth of net worth value in stock holdings. Now that's what I call based. That's also what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.